Yet there might have been a question that came from last week of really asking the question, what does it mean to be a person that lives by faith each day? Hebrews 11, one of our readings for tonight, as I mentioned, the welcome began last week and has continued into this week. It's that famous by faith chapter of the Bible. So the whole chapter is on faith, and it doesn't really show us in definitive ways what exactly faith is. It just gives us examples of what it looks like when God gives it, how it's lived. Example of those Old Testament figures. God had granted and gave faith. And some Old Testament figures that I want to focus on again tonight. Some Old Testament figures that, as we saw last week, we saw how faith is first and foremost believing the Lord's Word. Trusting in His Word, like the likes of Abraham, Noah. We also saw in the case of Noah last week that seeking to do the right thing by God, even when the world around us may reject that right. And I do want to focus on another aspect of faith. Faith being the trust that God has a plan in all things. And that He has a plan for your life as His people. As the Hebrew writer puts it, that we have a race that is set out before us. This race of faith. I don't know how many of you are or were runners. I was a runner back in the day. You wouldn't be able to tell it today by physique. But back in the day, I was a runner. And there's a certain kind of mentality and kind of strategy to running, at least long-distance running, if you've ever done it. My race back in the day was the 800. My strategy usually was I wouldn't always start off in the lead. I'd usually let somebody else lead to kind of break the wind for a while. And then when the time was right to use them to draft off, try to go ahead of them. Although sometimes the race didn't always lend itself to being able to do that. Sometimes because of the runners, I had to run a faster pace than what I would have liked early on to keep up with those runners. It depended upon the race. That same kind of way, God calls us each, through His Word, to the track. To work this faith in us, all that same faith in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. Yet each of our races of faith in Christ can play out depends upon the Lord and how His Word is allowed to work in our lives. Example, last week we heard about Abraham and how his race of faith began. This week, the Hebrews writer also continues on with Abraham as an example of our faith, specifically of his trust that the Lord had a plan in all things. If you recall from last week, the Lord had to reassure Abraham on many different occasions that He was going to fulfill His promise to him of giving him an heir from his own body, his own son. It was a promise Abraham struggled to believe at various points in his journey of faith, yet the Lord gave him what he needed to believe. Leading Abraham then, as is mentioned in our text tonight, when the Lord tested his faith by telling him to go and take that son that He'd given him, Isaac, and take him up on a mountain and sacrifice him. Trust. Trust in the Lord's words and that He had a plan even in that. The Hebrew writer speaks to this in our text, and he says, by faith, Abraham considered that God was able even to raise him from the dead. Even Abraham with faith, that even if he took his son's life, the Lord would raise him from the dead. That same way, we're called, like Abraham, to run our own race of faith, trusting the Lord has a plan in all things. Yet that's not always times where our faith can be tested. There's times when we're running our race of faith and we experience some hiccups along the way. Lord, why did I lose that job? Why can't my house sell? Why Lord, I'm experiencing this illness now. It would be those times that can test our faith. Yet part of the faith that the Lord would seek to speak into our heart is not just have faith for those good times, but also the faith that trusts in His plans even in those times of testing. Even those times when you say, I can't see how this can fit into your plan in any way, Lord. Like the true story of how the Lord worked in the life of a man by the name of Bart Millard, who's the lead singer for a Christian band called Mercy Me. Maybe some of you last year watched the movie I Can Only Imagine based on his life. And here was a young man the Lord called to faith very early in his life and worked faith in his heart. Yet he had many times of testing in his life. When he was in high school, he had visions of being a football star because his dad had been a football star. But then he broke both of his ankles and his football career was over. But yet, the Lord used that and opened a door for him to be able to get involved with music. And then developed a reputation as a great singer and had aspirations of hitting it big in the Christian music industry. You know, when it came time for him to secure his first record label, his band, he was rejected. Got rejection that truly tested his faith. He struggled with, how can this be part of your plan, Lord? And yet that rejection led him back to his father. His father's home, his father who had abused him as a child. And yet God used that and brought a miracle in his life as he led him to reconcile with his father who had become a Christian. And after his father passed away, it led him then to write the song, I Can Only Imagine, which eventually became the hit that propelled him to a long and successful career in the Christian music industry, leading to a movie about his life came out last year. Here it was, he probably could look at those things and, Lord, how can this fit into your plan? Just like we can have things that happen in our life in the same way, but yet sometimes it's not until we get to the end of the story see how the Lord had planned those things. Same kind of thing that we can see in the lives of those Old Testament people mentioned there in Hebrews 11. Moses really should have been killed by Pharaoh as a baby, but God spared him. And then he grew up in Pharaoh's household, headed for a life of luxury there. Yet by faith, he couldn't bear to see a Hebrew mistreated. So he interceded for killing one of the Egyptian abusers. And here he knew by doing that what it would lead to, that the Pharaoh found out about it, he would have to flee Egypt, and that's what he did. He probably thought he was headed for a life of just being a shepherd for many years, but God had other plans. The Lord had a race of faith set out for Moses. The Lord has those plans for your life too. Maybe you're not called to be the father of many nations like Abraham. Maybe you're not called to be some great Christian music artist or be the one that God uses to save a whole people like Moses. But it is to follow His call to maybe just be the best parent that you can be. Maybe the best worker, counselor, teacher. Be for the Lord. It'd be try to be the best neighbor that you can be to those around you. It's that race of faith that the Lord would call us all to fulfill. The thing is, though, sometimes we aren't always fulfilling maybe those plans that the Lord has for us, because when you let the distractions of this world take our focus off of Christ and seeking what His plans are for our lives. Perhaps it can come sometimes by need for success, riches, for you or for your children, gets in the way. I don't have time to stop and pray, Lord, about what you want me to do, because I have my own plans. I'm carrying these things out. I've got plans for that child to be this great athlete, to be a great musician. I got plans to really make it big. I don't have time for church or volunteering because I need to work those extra hours because I Maybe we might give those kind of excuses. Lord, how can you use me? I'm just a little old me. I'm no evangelist. Yet if God can take a 75-year-old man and make him into a father at age 100 to carry out his plans like Abraham, or take an 80-year-old Moses to lead his people out of Egypt, he can use you. Special, powerful ways. It's really one of the points of all those examples that is given there in Hebrews 11 of those Old Testament figures. It seems some of the Christians that the writer of Hebrews was writing to were perhaps getting discouraged and distracted in their race of faith too, needing the encouragement that came from their lives' faith. So if we're living our lives, we just call all kinds of excuses, reasons why the Lord can't use us for some reason. He may not be running that race of faith that He intends for our life. It's like a quote that I ran across from J.C. Penney, of course, the one who founded J.C. Penney's. I thought it was a great quote. He says, "If a man's business requires so much of his time that he cannot attend the services of the church, then that man has more business than God intended him." That's why we find the Lord saying through the Hebrew writer then in chapter 12, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses," referring to those Old Testament people and the witness of their faith to the Lord and how the Lord used their faith to fulfill His plans. He says, "Let us then lay aside every weight, hindrance, and sin that so clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race set before us." It means like a runner seeking to shed whatever clothes or things that might weigh him down, such as weights in his life for his race. The Lord would call us to evaluate too, perhaps, our priorities. Things or sins that might be hindering our race of faith. Perhaps some habits or choices or seeking the wrong kinds of focuses in our life, but to refocus on Christ, knowing He has a plan for each of you. Because even in our times when we might get discouraged or distracted in this race of faith that He's given us, the Lord Jesus will continue to call you because He does have those plans for you. He laid down His life for you, enduring the cross, so that you could have His grace, His life, His death, His resurrection, and the testament to His concern, love for you. And He wants you to have the salvation He paid for. And to use you then for His kingdom. That's why the Hebrews writer says, "Let us run with perseverance the race is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and the perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before Him endured the cross, despising the shame, and seated at the right hand of God the Father." Consider Him who endured such opposition from sinful men, that you will not grow weary. Jesus is the one we know to look to. All time and testing. All the difficulties that we might experience in our life, knowing that He went through it too. He is our help from above through those times. And He is the one to look to as we run our race of faith, because He is prize. And His goal is to use us for His kingdom until the day when our faith in Him can be sight, when you will receive what is promised, your faith. The prize that He paid for, He died and rose for you, a gift of eternal life. Amen. May the peace of Christ, your transcend all understanding, guard your hearts and minds.